Hello and welcome to Sported. I'm Shane Ancorn and let's get straight into it. Let's talk about the Cup Final. Now, before I say anything, as a Liverpool fan, first off, congratulations to Newcastle. If you're going to lose to anybody, it would be the Geordies. They're brilliant, great club, they deserved it. They've been waiting 70 years for a major domestic trophy and finally they've landed one, so well done to them. And they fully deserved it. We, on the other hand, didn't, because we were absolutely shit. Absolutely shit. And I put it down to one. There's more than one reason, but one of the main reasons is lack of rotation. There's been hardly any rotation this season. God knows why. Probably because he doesn't trust the players that he's got in reserve. But you have to, because this is the end result. At the business end of the season, in the cup finals and the Champions League knockout stages, the elite level, these fine margins matter. And this is why you lose games. And this is why we've lost 2 in a row. The players looked out on their feet. They looked exhausted. We had no plan B. They didn't have any players with any rhythm to call on. So Elliott hasn't played much, bits and pieces. Chiesa, Kwanzaa, Tsimikas has played slightly more. Up front, Jota has no rhythm. Núñez is Núñez. We'll talk about that later. Jota, Diaz, not enough in his output at all. All right, doing all these tricks and flicks and running around like a headless donkey. He is a workhorse, but his output, his numbers, there isn't enough there. We are too reliant on Mohamed Salah. Too reliant. So if he has a bad game or if he doesn't contribute with assists and goals, where else is it coming from? It was Gakpo. Gakpo, until he got injured, was doing a great job. He was trying to find his rhythm. He was scoring goals and playing well. Then he got injured. So who else? Who else? I think the stats between Jota, Diaz and Núñez are terrible. This season, absolutely terrible. Not even in the double figures. Between 3 players, it's not good enough. It's not good enough, especially for a team like Liverpool. Who else are you going to turn to? It's not fair to rely on Salah all the time. I think his goal contributions is something like 60-something percent, 63%, maybe more, which is amazing. But if you have an off day or a couple of off days, like he did against PSG and Newcastle, this is what happens. This is what happens. So they've really got to look at this and think for next season, there's some surgery to be done here. Núñez has to go. Jota, I'd sell him. He's too injury prone and he's not good enough. He's not good enough to start. He's a squad player at best. And in the elite games again, he's gone missing. Against PSG, he was terrible. Against Newcastle, non-existent. Diaz as well. He just doesn't score enough. He's replaced Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane, his goal contributions was so much more than Diaz. And Diaz, the eye test looks pretty good, runs around, very skillful, technical, great work engine, but doesn't score or assist enough. So for me, they need to replace. The only 2 I'd keep up front, Salah and Gakpo. That's it. The rest can go. Núñez certainly has to go. Enough's enough. This experiment, and it hasn't worked. He's not the player that we thought he was going to be. So he needs to go as well. In midfield, you can't keep playing Gravenberch. He looks absolutely knackered when you've got someone like Endo who's more than capable to do a decent job in midfield. Yes, he might not have the technical ability of Gravenberch, but he does a job. He's a destroyer and he passes it off. He does the simple things really well and the fans absolutely love him. What must he do to get a start? And again, especially against Southampton. How are they not starting against Southampton? If they can't beat Southampton, they don't deserve to be Premier League players, but they are, and they should be trusted. So this is on slot. As much as I love him, and he's come in and done a fantastic job, and he's learning, he's adaptable, and I like that. But you've got to trust your players, or clear them all out, which will be very interesting in the summer. What is he going to do with all these players he clearly doesn't trust? With Elliott, with Chiesa, with Núñez. They clearly have to go. And then defensively, with all the contracts, what's happening with Trent? I mean, we've got Bradley, who's fantastic. I think he's going to be a great player. But what we can do with Trent, Van Dijk, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. There's a big summer coming up. A big summer coming up for Liverpool. They really need to decide. Richard Hughes really needs to step up and show why he was appointed. There's so much to be done at Liverpool. Michael Edwards, who has a great history of great recruitment, they need to get their heads together and decide which way they're going to go here, because there's lots of surgery. We're lucky this season that we have a gap that we do, 13 points, or is it 15 points at this point? Excuse me. They really need to think about what they want to do. And Alisson Becker, for me, has to stay. The defence, we need a new right back. We need a new left back. We need another centre back. Kanate is injury prone. We need a backup for Gravenberch and McAllister, someone that he trusts. The wingers need to go. I can see why they looked at Anthony Gordon, who has more productivity. Diaz, I'll probably sell him to whoever, Barcelona apparently. Nunez, Saudi Arabia, whoever. I'd drive the guy, take him to the airport, no problem. I can't believe apparently we turned down 70 million in the summer. But the cup final was telling, very telling, to show you where we're at as a team. It hasn't been a great season. The teams that were up at the top of the league with us have dropped off. Chelsea, Manchester City, they haven't been very good. Tottenham, Arsenal, they've all dropped off. We've been lucky it's not been a stellar season with competition. So, but that still doesn't take it away from the cup final being disappointing. Really, really disappointing to watch. You just couldn't see any way out of it. They didn't have anything more to give. And by the time Chiesa came on and Elliott, they changed the game slightly. It looked done. The game looked done. So, congratulations to Newcastle, by the way. I thought they were fantastic. And I think Eddie Howe is going to be a really, really great manager. And should have been in the reckoning for the England job. Maybe it's too early for him. Maybe it's too early in his career and he needs to get more experience at Newcastle, and you can see he's improving, and what he did at Bournemouth, at Newcastle, and they've got to do it organically, not just throwing money at buying players. And I like what he's done. I like the team. The fans are obviously amazing, and they deserved it. They thoroughly deserved it. So congratulations to Newcastle. If you're going to lose to anybody, lose to the Geordies. About time they won something. So fair play to them. But Liverpool, hopefully, let's get this Premier League done and dusted, and then they really need to sit down and work out where they're going to go with all these players and clear the decks, get rid of these players that aren't good enough, that he clearly doesn't trust, get some players in, some starting players. I agree with Jamie Carragher. They need 2 new strikers. They need someone like Isak or Harry Kane starting up front. They need someone on the wing that starts. Gakpo is there, clearly the main. He's got the shirt at the moment. They need a left back. They need a new right back if Trent goes. They need another centre back, possibly 2 if Van Dijk goes. And they need a midfielder. They practically need half a team. And if Alisson goes, then we'll keep the 2 keepers. But there's so much to be sorted out. It's worrying at the moment. And these contracts that still haven't been signed is shocking. A club like Liverpool letting these contracts go down to the wire, letting other teams circle. That apparently the PSG owners were talking to Van Dijk. I'm hoping that they've already agreed, and they're just maybe one of the theories is that one of the players hasn't signed, so they don't want to announce that the other 2 have. For example, Van Dijk and Salah, they might have signed, they might not have. Let's see. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting summer. Let's just pray that we get this Premier League title in the bag, and then we go get the surgery in the summer that we need. But what are your thoughts anyway? Congratulations. You can't deny it, Newcastle. What do you think? It was great for the neutral, great cup final. But get your comments in. Take care and speak to you on the next one. Bye-bye.